Okay, George, how much coffee did you drink to get in the mood for this episode?
This much. What about you?
1.5 of these.
Yeah. I've been running to the bathroom every 5 minutes.
Yep, you?
Yeah, my bathroom smells like coffee.
Oh, well, we have to do a cold open of some kind.
Yeah, but I really gotta pee. Make it fast.
Okay, so George, you drank a bunch of coffee to get in the mood for this episode. Did you pick up some smoking again?
Are you kidding? In this economy?
Good enough for me. See you in a minute.
Yep, ditto.
Welcome to Does This Still Work? The podcast that always asks, does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romacka. Today we're discussing coffee and cigarettes from 2003 and some historical context. First, podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and on our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us, even the ones who drink their coffee black, which apparently we'll find some shit out about, and leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/dtswpod.
Now, George, take us back to 2003.
Okay.
And that's the way it was.
It was kind of hard to try and narrow down coffee and cigarette news of 2003.
I'm sure.
So we're just talking mostly about coffee and cigarettes.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So let's start with coffee. I drink mine black because I recognized that a large part of how I ended up having to lose weight was that I was drinking sugar water all the time in the forms of tea, coffee, and soda. So I got used to drinking it black. I enjoy it black.
Boy, do you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means either.
I mean, my first boyfriend was black. Just saying.
First and only.
Yeah. I enjoy black coffee and unsweetened black or green tea way more than I enjoyed beer when I was drinking that, for an example of bitter tasting thing that one develops a taste for.
You know, I never got a taste for beer. I just never cared for it. I do have a taste for coffee. I drink it quite a bit, but usually I put fake sugar and milk in it. But when I'm drinking just black coffee, I like to have like cake or pie with it.
Yeah, you just take the sugar via a different route.
Yes.
Well, apparently only 18% of coffee drinkers drink it black. That's as of 2024. And that's down from 32% in 2022.
Okay.
I don't know why. Like, there was no reason given for why people gave up on it. I think probably just because there's more sugary varieties now.
Yeah, there's way more to drink than it used to be.
But in 2023, Reader's Digest led a story with this lovely headline. Joe?
Bad news, coffee drinkers. You might be a psychopath if you like your coffee black.
Apparently, a preference for bitter flavors is correlated with Machiavellian traits like narcissism, psychopathy, and sadism. How strong is that correlation? Not very. And it depends heavily on how we define bitter. The article walks back from that headline with Stephen Myers, PhD, professor of psychology at Roosevelt University, stating that the study found only a, quote, very small association, and that the, quote, Findings need to be interpreted with caution.
Well, they certainly didn't do that in the headline.
No, they certainly the fuck did not.
I like when they do stuff like that. Headline, the most inflammatory thing possible, and then you read the article and like, wait a minute, that you completely contradict what you just said.
Yeah, and guess what people remember?
The headline.
The headline, right? It's why pay for your news or, profit-driven news is such a detriment to news.
Well, especially today when you need clicks to keep yourself going. Then,
and I mean, this was 2023, not that long from today.
No.
A 2016 study in PubMed concluded that people who smoke are more likely to drink coffee, so let's look at the number one reason why I quit smoking. It's fucking expensive.
That's it? That's your
number one reason. Now, granted, that's partially a function of living in a blue state that does the right thing of making it expensive to engage in behaviors that will make everyone's healthcare costs go up. But that can't explain why cigarettes in Texas are also more expensive now than in 2003. In fact, the average price for a pack of cigarettes is 255% higher than it was in 2003. The average pack in the 2000s was like $3.94. It's more like $9 now.
Wow, that is a jump.
The other reason I quit smoking was because my blood pressure at the time was 180 over 120, which is by definition a hypertensive crisis. That was partly genetics and partly my life stress at the time, but cigarettes weren't helping, and jettisoning them was a relatively easy way to make room in my budget while also making me healthier.
I don't remember you going through any sort of withdrawals. Was it difficult for you to quit smoking?
Not remotely.
Oh, okay.
I think part of it was because I was on amphetamines by then.
Well, that always helps. Yeah. You should be, let's be clear, you prescribed amphetamines. Yeah. It's not... You weren't just popping them for recreation.
Nope. But they do make things easy. They make decision-making easier, and a decision to not do something is a decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, I don't regret quitting smoking. Not for 1 second.
I have never met a person who has.
All right, Joe. Let's talk about coffee and cigarettes, but, the movie.
Okay. This is directed and written by Jim Jarmusch. I've seen his work in Stranger Than Paradise, Dead Man, Mystery Train, and Down by Law. Moving to the blurbs, IMDb says, a series of vignettes that all have coffee and cigarettes in common. Well, makes sense.
That is succinct, to the point, and true.
And I think we both watched this on Max, right? On Max, it says, celebrities play fictionalized versions of themselves as they meet for coffee and cigarettes to discuss fame, addiction, Nikola Tesla, and more. Which is, I guess, pretty accurate.
Sure.
Before examining this thing, I want to read what the theme is, per Wikipedia. The film is composed of a comic series of short vignettes shot in black and white, built on one another to create a cumulative effect, as the characters discuss things such as caffeine popsicles, Paris in the 1920s, and the use of nicotine as an insecticide, all while sitting around drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes. The theme of the film is absorption and the obsessions, joys, and addictions of life. And there are many common threads between vignettes, such as Tesla coil, medical knowledge, the suggestion that coffee and cigarettes don't make for a healthy meal, generally lunch, something I think we all know. I didn't need this movie to tell me this. Cousins, the Lees, Sink, and Joy, and a mention of Spike Lee, who is, of course, their relative. Delirium, miscommunication, musicians, the similarities between musicianship and medical skill, industrial music, acknowledged fame, and the idea of drinking coffee before sleeping in order to have fast dreams.
Okay, stop.
Which isn't a thing, I know.
There are 84 fucking words in that sentence.
I didn't write it. It's Wikipedia's idea.
The theme, singular word, theme of the film is a list of 3 things that then goes and dissembles into a list of a dozen or so other things. Whoever wrote this, making shit up. these things do come up, but they were just watching the movie and writing down whatever they saw.
They're probably on coffee and cigarettes.
Probably.
In each of the segments of the film, the common motif of alternating black and white tiles can be seen in some fashion. The visual use of black and white relates to the theme of interpersonal contrast, as each vignette features two people who disagree completely, yet manage to sit amicably at the same table. Well, that's debatable how amicable everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
Since the movie is broken down into 11 scenes, this is me now, we'll examine each scene or vignette.
Okay,
so the first one is called Strange to Meet You, and the characters in that are Steven, and that's played by Stephen Wright, the comedian, of course. And I've seen him in Natural Born Killers, Reservoir Dogs, Desperately Seeking Susan, Half-Baked, and The Muse. You've seen him in nothing, George?
Nope.
Okay. You do know who Stephen Wright is, though, right?
Nope.
You've never seen a stand-up? Oh, you've got to watch some Steve Wright stand-up. He's very good. Roberto is played by Roberto Benigni, and I've seen him in Down by Law. He's also an Oscar winner, but I didn't see that movie. And Life is Beautiful. Anyway, the summary. Stephen and Roberto meet in an empty cafe, drink coffee, and smoke, and say, what? I don't know, but at the end, Roberto goes to Stephen's dental appointment.
Yep.
George, before we start, you can't say you don't know. That's not great audio.
Right.
So, do these two men know each other? They seem to, but they also act like this was their first encounter.
I can say I don't know to a question that I don't know the answer to. I never got the impression that they knew each other.
And yet they seem to know, they introduce each other, but there seemed to be a familiarity.
Well, it seemed like they knew they were meeting each other there, but they didn't have prior knowledge of each other. It's like you're meeting somebody for a first date.
Yes, although it doesn't explain what set this up or how they...
Right, no, you're just dropped in media res.
Yeah. Now here's the main question. Was it supposed to be funny? And they're both comedians. Benigni is supposed to be hilarious in Italy or wherever the hell he's from. I've only seen him in Down by Law and in this movie, and he's okay. Stephen Wright is a very funny stand-up. But in what did you think?
I was amused when he ended up going to the dentist appointment. But you had to watch the whole scene to get there. And the rest of the scene wasn't funny.
No. I even have a Stephen Wright comedy album that made me laugh. I'd love to know what happened. How did Jim Jarmusch fuck this up? You know, what I suspect happens, and I'll probably say this again. Oh, in fact, I have it written down here. Do you think the director just told everyone action and then do improv with no input from anyone whatsoever? Input from him.
That's as good an explanation as any, because I can't imagine somebody actually scripting this scene.
It feels very much like, okay, guys, you're funny, be funny! And then they sit there and try and find something amusing. I guess they came up to, hey, why don't you go to my dental appointment? And that's as funny as it got. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's humorous, but I didn't laugh. I just thought, oh, that's kind of silly. You can't go to someone else's dental appointment, which is obviously the joke.
Right.
All right, so let's go to scene 2, and that's called Twins. Not the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
No, because that's an entire movie. This is one scene from one movie.
Indeed. Instead, the segment cast is the good twin, that's their name, is played by Joey Lee. And we've seen her for the podcast and Do the Right Thing and Get on the Bus. And I've seen her in Summer of Sam, Crooklyn, Mo Better Blues, and School Days. The evil twin is played by Sink Lee, and I've seen him in Mystery Train and School Days. And Danny is played by Steve Buscemi. He's the waiter.
For the show, we've seen him in Fargo, The Big Lebowski, Pulp Fiction, and Parting Glances.
And I've seen his work in The Death of Stalin, The Ridiculous Six, Dead Man, Living in Oblivion, Mystery Train, and Reservoir Dogs.
And I've seen him in Big Fish, Rising Sun, Billy Madison, Con Air, The Wedding Singer, Armageddon, Big Daddy, heard him in Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, Monsters, Inc. and Hotel Transylvania, and saw him in Mr. Deeds.
Okay, so let's get into this. What did you make of the conversation about Elvis? Because remember, before Danny joins in, that's Steve Buscemi's character, the waiter, they're both arguing about whether... I don't know if they're really arguing, but they're discussing how much of a racist Elvis is.
Because he was.
That's debatable.
Most people were.
Well, that's debatable how racist. We can get into that. But then Danny comes over and goes, I didn't hear any of that before. Because they have him say he says things that...
Right, no, so what he says is Elvis had a twin brother. An identical twin brother. And anything that Elvis did that was off-putting was the identical twin brother doing that because Elvis was like, I want a vacation. Which comes across, if you have two black people talking about the fact that Elvis, undeniably was influenced by African-American music and took a lot of thematic elements and made them Elvis stuff, right? Which I think we call that today cultural appropriation.
We would do that, yes.
So if you have two black people talking about this act and this bunch of cultural appropriation, and you come in with, well, I have this conspiracy theory that it wasn't actually him appropriating the culture, it was his evil twin brother.
His dead evil twin brother.
That is some racist apologetic garbage.
Here's the thing. There is no evidence of Elvis ever actually saying the things that people have been saying, these most racist things. No evidence he actually said it. There's a good chance that Elvis, how do you say this, was not all there. Basically, I'm not saying they said in the same mental or he just Colonel Parker, whatever the hell is the guy who ran his career, who stole from him like crazy, exploited this man, and easily, number one, he said, I needed a singer who sounds black, but is white, so I can make all this money. And so he knew what he was doing. I'm not clear that Elvis did. And clearly Elvis didn't keep care of his money. He just let this man, who I assume he thought of some sort of father figure to him, let this man pretty much put him in all these horrible movies, let him do whatever. The thing, so I don't know how racist he is. For example, I'm sure he was racist in the sense that of his time, then probably, but not in the sense that he used all the language that people use, because I don't know, he was off somewhere else. I do know one thing, besides the fact that he married a woman, or started dating a 16-year-old, which is also and married this woman, which was not controversial at the time. But another thing that he did was he would take all these drugs, but he figured it wasn't illegal because it was prescribed by his doctor, who was also exploiting him. In fact, it's a weird, well, maybe not such a weird comparison, but if you look at the life of Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley, there's a lot of similarities in the sense that the people who are around them exploit the fucking hell out of them. Just absolutely use them for everything. just highway robbery, what was done to these two people. So anyway, that's what I know about Elvis. So how would you characterize the relationship between the two siblings, two cousins? The evil, I don't know, one was the good twin and the evil twin. I don't know why they're called that. Did you find one more good and one more evil?
No. I think it was a weird naming choice. They seem, they borrow each other's clothes. So they can't be that, but they had normal levels of sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
They were just, they got along better than me and my brother did. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I didn't find their relationship all that aggressive, and certainly not to the point where someone's the good one's the evil one. I'd love to know where that characterization came from. And what do you take the role of Danny, that Steve Buscemi plays?
He fulfilled the role that at least one other celebrity does, which is known celebrity out of context.
You mean he's just there for a celebrity, you think, nothing else?
And to basically, to I don't know what the word is. Not a foil, but he's the weird, the siblings conversation was kind of normal, and then this waiter comes in with something out of left field. It was the weird, he was the one weird thing in an improv scene.
Yeah. And like a lot of these, I didn't feel this really went anywhere particularly. Yeah. All right, let's go on to the third scene. That's called Somewhere in California. Somewhere out there. And the cast for that one is Iggy Pop and Tom Waits.
Mm-hmm.
And the filmography of Mr. Pop is, I've seen him in Dead Man and Trainspotting and The Color of Money and Sid and Nancy. Tom Waits' filmography is, for the show, we've seen him in The Fisher King, And we've both seen him in The Ballad of Buster Scruggs and Mystery Men. And I've seen him in Down by Law, Shortcuts, Licorice Pizza, and The Cotton Club. Let's get into these two musicians. So between Iggy Pop and Tom Waits, who do you think put in the better performance there?
That's tough.
I would lean more towards Tom Waits. I mean, both are basically playing some version of themselves, and what they're asked to do isn't particularly demanding, but if I had
Tom Waits actually a doctor?
No, why would you ask that?
Because
he waits?
Because he's a fucking doctor in the scene, Joe. He talks about, like, he stopped at a traffic.
Oh, that's a joke.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You don't know who Tom Waits is.
I'm a fucking idiot.
He's not serious. He's not actually a doctor.
Wow. They spent a lot of time on that. Fuck this scene.
Well, what do you think is the significance of all the talk about quitting smoking and then proceeding to smoke?
I think that's just a normal thing that happens. A lot. I'm going to go on a diet. Fail. I'm going to quit smoking. Fail.
But that's not
the
true.
last time I'm going to cheat on you. Fail. Like, we say we're going to stop doing terrible shit all the time, and then we don't.
But in your case, it's true, right? You did manage to stop smoking.
Yeah. I'm a fucking gem of a human, Joe.
You haven't fallen off the wagon once.
Nope.
But has anyone offered you to smoke? Like, hey, we're going to go smoke. You want to go to smoke? And you had to turn them down?
No.
Okay. Do you think musicians actually go to a bar and check if their music is on the jukebox? This is what happens in the film for those who haven't seen it. I think it's Iggy Pop says to Tom Waits, hey, your music isn't on the jukebox. And for some reason, Tom takes this as some sort of offense or something. I don't know. He's just getting very bothered by it.
Joe.
Then later checks and sees, hey, his music isn't on this jukebox either.
When was the last time you looked at the view numbers on our YouTube?
Probably this week. So we had like 3 views for something. Why?
I'm going to say yes. I think musicians would do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize this was related to the question. Then you think, yeah, I guess so. Oh, here's my next question. Do bars even have jukeboxes anymore? Because I can't remember. Really?
Some do, yes.
I can't remember the last bar I was in that had a jukebox. They're usually playing their own CD music.
I've been in a couple. And a lot of them have, like, upgraded, like, digital jukeboxes now.
I got it.
Streaming jukeboxes.
Because I have not seen this in a long time. When you actually pay yourself, you're putting money in?
Yeah, you put money in, but it's not like you're flipping through things. It's like connected to a database.
Right. Still haven't seen that at all. Why do you suppose Tom Waits is being such an asshole? If you think he's I thought he was being a jerk. Of the two of them in the scene, for some reason, as I said, he comes off as very hostile.
Because if they were supposed to be improving, I don't think he's a good improver. Because it's really, really easy to be an asshole when you're improving. It's harder to do something not asshole. Asshole is easy. It's easy to dog on somebody and try and get a laugh at it. It's easy to neg things, because it takes no effort to say no. It takes a lot of effort to yes and be wholesome. So I think he was doing that because he wasn't given a direction, and that was easier.
They definitely weren't given any direction. I already said that I thought Waits put in the better performance. I find him more interesting to look at in terms of like a performance than Iggy Pop. It's just it's like that X Factor sort of thing. Why do you like one actor more than you like another on film, even though they might both have the same?
Like, I look at Iggy Pop and I just see Keith Richards. I just see people that are preserved by the drugs that they've taken.
But that's why I think Waits is a slightly better actor. I find him more interesting to look at. But either way, this was not that interesting. This scene, as many of them weren't, to be perfectly frank. All right, here's scene 4. It's called "Those Things Will Kill Ya," and here's the characters in that. Joe is played by Joseph Regano, and for the podcast, we've seen him in Analyze This. Vinny is played by Vinny Vela, and I've seen him in The Irishman. Vinny Jr. is played by Vinny Vela Jr., and we've seen him in Analyze This. He was the kid to De Niro's kid in that. And we've both seen Vinny Jr. in Meet the Parents. All right. So what does the presence of Vinny's kid say about generational change? Because I felt like there was some point there they were trying to make, and I'm not sure I understood it.
I mean, that was the old joke about, that's the old people, the old person joke of kids these days, right? So kids, all they want is money from their parents. So that's all he comes. But they're also judgmental little shits, and he'll judge you for smoking because kids are so pussified now, and they don't smoke anymore, and they don't drink anymore, and they all sing Kumbaya, and they give each other hugs. And man, somebody needs to kick them in the balls and toughen them up. Tough love. That's how you, like, it's that same fucking joke.
And what was that whole discussion about the peas? You remember?
Yeah. Kids eat weird shit nowadays.
That's just what that meant.
Yeah, it's a giant joke about kids these days.
I guess. I didn't get it, so your answer's as good as any. Joe keeps complaining about Vinny smoking, but he's not the king of health himself. Why is he so critical?
The person who's not smoking is healthier than the person who is. It doesn't, like, he might not be this Adonis, this, strapping older man, but his lungs are less black and charred.
They both look pretty awful, to be honest. I was really surprised when he says that's my kid. And then I read in the credits that this real kid in real life, because, like, Jesus, how did... man, when you were young, you must have been a very handsome man.
Viagra existed in 2003. Or before it.
Well, he had to have the kid before 2003, yes.
Yeah, significantly before George.
All right, so scene 5 is called Renee. And that Renee is played by Renee French, who wasn't an actress. She was a production manager. She did internships for the movie Malcolm X, though, which we've seen for the podcast. The waiter who waits on her is played by E.G. Rodriguez, who mainly works in the music department. So that's helpful. No credits to read there. So, which begs the question, why are two non-actors put into this?
I don't care why two non-actors.
Well, I do. I think it's, why?
Because they were available. Because somebody had an idea and they were like, let's do that.
Because it's not like they acted in anything else. So clearly this is Jim Jarmusch's idea.
Honestly, not bad actors.
Well, no worse than anyone else in this picture, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, so the waiter, and that is his name. It's Renee and the waiter. He has no name, and that's her name. The waiter is the waiter trying to pick her up, do you think? Because here's what happens for those who may not see. She's sitting there looking through her magazine, and we'll get into what she's looking at. And she has her coffee filled up, and he goes to do a refill, and she gets upset about the refill because she already had it perfect, as she says. And he apologizes, goes away, then comes back, then changes his mind, goes away, then comes back again, then goes away again. That's the whole bit. Do you think he was trying to pick her up?
I don't think he was trying to pick her up. I think he was playing the long game of hoping she would pick him up.
Oh, really? Okay. How did you get that?
Because I can recognize when a passive-aggressive guy doesn't have the gumption or the social skills to actually make a move. He doesn't. He just didn't have what it took to make a move, but he wanted her. Like, he wanted her. She's fucking gorgeous. There's no reason he wouldn't want her.
She's an attractive woman. Nope.
So he wanted to be around her on the off chance she would suddenly become horny and take him in the back and fuck.
I would love to know what the subtext was, or what the Jarmusch was shooting for. Was I really it? Was he trying to pick her up? He was hoping she would turn around and go like, hey, I want to fuck you now. Who knows? Now, she is looking at what? A gun catalog. Does her looking at a gun catalog mean anything? I got the impression it's supposed to be funny, but I didn't find it.
It is supposed to be mildly amusing, but if I was doing this scene, the point of that would be it doesn't fucking matter what she's looking at, leave her alone. In this case, she's looking at things that should have been like, if the waiter could see over her shoulder, that would be like the bright coloring of things in nature to warn predators away. But other than that, no, I think she was enjoying looking at Because she wasn't just looking at guns, she was looking at knives, too.
Oh, yeah. Weapons. She was looking at weapons.
Weapons in general.
Which, I don't know. I don't know what we're supposed to read into that, but that's what she was doing. Okay. The sixth one of these is called No Problem. This is where two friends meet up. One asks the other if there is a problem, and the guy says there is not a problem, and repeat that cycle over and over again. All right, Alex is played by Alex DeCasse, and Isaac
is played by himself.
It's played by himself, yeah. I mean, they're both playing themselves, or that's the character's name. But Isaac, I have seen, we both seen him in Black Panther, and I've seen him in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I think these guys, obviously they have some African heritage, but I think one of them is also French. Not that it matters.
I mean, there's a lot of that, especially in Africa.
Yeah.
A lot of French colonialism.
Sure.
It's not like black people came up with the name Sierra Leone.
No. So, George, are there any cultural tensions here, or some misunderstanding in communication?
It almost feels like it's supposed to be, right? Like this is a black people thing, but it's not.
Well, I mean,
these two people, they're friends. They haven't seen each other in a while. One calls up the other because he's in town, and hey, let's get together. And one's like, so I feel like something's up with you. Like something's wrong. What's wrong? And the other guy's like, nothing's wrong, dude. But the first guy is just stuck on that. Like, no, there has to be something wrong. And the way the scene is shot, and because it's these two people, it almost feels like it's supposed to be some kind of commentary on black culture of some kind. But it's not, because people do that shit all the people do all that shit all the fucking time.
Well, I don't know that it's a comment on black culture necessarily, especially since the people he particularly picked for the scene are not American. So, I mean, it could obviously have black culture in other nations, but my impression was that there was some sort of cultural tension here because one is from one African country, another's from another African country, or maybe he's from France. I don't know. That's the cultural difference I was getting, like tension, but they obviously know each other and they've worked together or they've become friends. Some relationship they've had before, and someone is taking something the wrong way and will not let it go. Even though the guy says there is no problem.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go any deeper than that for me. I couldn't make heads or tails of it other than he says, okay, when they finally decide, I got to leave now. All right, well, when you have over your problem, let me know. If there was no problem to get over.
If any of the vignettes in this movie could be the basis for a movie, I feel like this problem could be the basis for a movie.
They could have fleshed this out more.
This could, if you have two people who know each other and one thinks something is wrong, but there isn't something wrong, but because we are people and humans and fallible and have biases, right, we will start seeing the things that reconfirm what we already think is true. Like, you could flesh out an entire story where somebody really thinks they have good reasons to suspect something is going horribly awry in your life, but they're wrong. It would just take better writing than this thing had at available.
Yeah, and it's only 3 minutes or however long the scene is.
Yeah.
How does suspicion or paranoia shape their interaction?
I don't think it's suspicion or paranoia. I think it's stuck. It's getting stuck on an idea.
But silly, Isaac is obviously suspicious because he keeps thinking Alex is upset with him, and Alex keeps saying, I'm really not. I'm really not.
Because if you assert a thing and somebody says that thing isn't true, there are people who learn as they're growing up that when that happens, the other person becomes upset with you. And then they start to assume that they're upset with you, even if the other person has no such feeling. Like, we put a lot of shit on other people because of what we were conditioned to believe about how people operate.
Okay. Well, that's that. All right, so our seventh short flick is Cate Blanchett talking to Cate Blanchett in a hotel lounge. She plays herself and her passive-aggressive cousin, Shelley. That segment is called Cousins.
Cousins!
A lot of cousins stuff. All right, so we both seen Miss.
Did you watch the Fallout series yet?
No.
There's a whole thing about cousin stuff.
Okay. What is that on?
Prime.
Okay. I just gave up my Amazon, so I'll probably never see it. And then again, I watch a lot of things.
You can come over to my place and watch it.
That's true. And of course, I've managed to watch a lot of things that supposedly I don't have access to.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was going to get into Cate Blanchett's filmography for us. And so we both seen her in Thor Ragnarok, and I've seen her in Nightmare Alley, Blue Jasmine, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and The Good German. And before you get into your credits, George, I just want to say again, and we should probably put this on the list sometime, I still remember the controversy from Blue Jasmine that she plays with, she is in the movie, she's the wife to Ryan, one of the Ryans, the one who was in the musical.
Doesn't matter, Joe.
It does matter.
Oh.
But anyway, he goes down on her and it was a controversy at the time.
Okay.
Not Reynolds, the other Ryan. Ryan Gosling. All right, near credits now.
Yeah, she was Galadriel in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Swag is promotional items given away at events, usually to celebrities, so that if they like it, maybe they will promote your product. If you got swag, would you give it as a gift, as Cate Blanchett does to Shelley?
I get swag fairly often, and I'm not a celebrity.
Oh, really? What do you get swag for?
From vendors and like Emerson. We buy a lot of Emerson shit, right? We buy a lot of shit from Rockwell Automation. Buy a lot of shit from Control Associates. So I have a lot of like pens and mugs and a couple of hats and even an Emerson t-shirt. Like, I just end up with shit with their logos on it because they give it to people to promote their shit.
But you never give these away, have you?
No, because it's obviously been given to me as swag and therefore is worthless to anybody else. Like, the fucking mug that I got from Emerson, fucking God, when was that? In 2021? I'm still using. It is fantastic. It keeps hot stuff hot and cold stuff cold all fucking day. It's great. I wouldn't want to give it to anybody.
Well, but if you had swag that wasn't that specific, would you give it away?
There's no such thing as swag that's not that specific. It's the whole fucking point of swag is to be that specific.
You know what I mean. If it wasn't a t-shirt or if they ever gave you jewelry.
If they gave me something of that was genuinely valuable, would I give it as a gift? Sure, why not? If it wasn't something I was going to use myself. Like, if it wasn't something that would be identified as swag. Like, if they gave me a fucking 16-karat diamond necklace with Emerson's logo on it, I still don't know that I would give it as a gift.
Well, she does in the picture here, and and for some reason, Shelley gets very offended by this. I mean, Kate probably should have said to her, hey, I got this swag. Would you like it? Because obviously I don't need it. Because apparently what's in the bag is very expensive perfumes and whatever in there. And like, and for some reason, and Shelley's passive-aggressive throughout the entire scene. And I'm not sure why. I mean, she's obviously jealous of her cousin, and her cousin more successful than she is, but sometimes, I mean, she knows swag exists because she says it to her. She calls her on it, and she's like, you're giving me a gift. And she goes, oh, this is swag, right? She says, yeah, it's swag. But I mean, so what? It's still a gift. How is it less of a gift just because it's swag? Because you didn't pay for it?
One of my uncles works in advertising, and every year he gets a bunch of boxes of products from the companies that he does ads for.
Mm-hmm.
And he gives them out at Christmas to, like, everybody. He gets enough of them that, like, everybody get. And it's actually one of the things that is most looked forward to, because there are some really nice, like, skincare products in that thing.
Okay.
So I've seen that actually happening, and it work out well.
Yeah, there's no reason.
So I think Shelley might be a little bit stick up her ass.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with getting someone's. First off, it's a gift. You can repackage a gift. Like, okay, I don't need this. Would you like this? I think Kate should have said it's swag, but in the end, who cares? It's still a gift. Accept it or don't accept it. Don't be a prick about it. How does Kate play her two characters? Do you think? Can you distinguish them? Because I think she does a pretty good job.
Yeah, no, I actually didn't know that they were the same person right away.
Okay, yeah. So she puts in a fine, probably the best performance, I guess, in this picture.
Yeah.
She's actually has to do something. Maybe this part was directed. I don't know. All right, so Shelley complains that Kate didn't listen to her music, But if it was that important, why didn't she bring it with her? And she even says like, oh, I mailed it to you. She said, nah, I didn't hear it. I didn't get it. And then she finally says, oh, I didn't mail it. So she's like being a real
joke
jerk.
that it's a joke or plot point that can't possibly work today.
I don't understand.
Because we don't use physical fucking media anymore.
Ah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Like, you didn't listen to my music? You have Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, any music service at all. You can access, like, you can listen. We have a podcast. Oh, where can I listen to it? I don't know. Do you have Spotify, YouTube, Pocket Casts, Rocket Cast? There's 1,000 other podcast apps. We are on all of them. You don't need to have physical media anymore. There's no excuse of, well, I didn't listen to it because I didn't get the letter with the CD in it.
That's a good point. I hadn't even thought of that, but that does date the movie. You're right. Because if this were today, she's like, here's the link. Or, yeah, just go to Spotify, go to blah, blah, blah. We're up there on this platform.
Like, it's funny that I say Spotify right off the top of my head. I don't use Spotify.
But that would be a service people would use.
Yes.
They smoke in the lounge at one point, but as soon as Kate leaves, a waiter comes over to Shelley and tells her the lounge has no smoking. What do you think that means?
I think that's a commentary on the power of celebrity.
Yeah, 100%.
The waiter wasn't going to come bother them while Kate Blanchett was there, but when Kate Blanchett leaves, he'll fuck with Kate Blanchett's cousin and be like, nope, now the rules apply.
Yeah. We don't know who the fuck you are, so we don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Kate might go complain to somebody important, as important as her, then people won't come to our fancy smancy hotel, so we're going to kiss her ass. Although in her defense, she doesn't know that's what's happening. All right, next up, audience, do you remember the White Stripes? They were, and I'm quoting Wikipedia here, a leading group of the 2000s indie rock and the decade's garage rock revival. They disbanded in 2011. George, you know music. What is garage rock?
I don't know. I just file that under alt rock.
It was like music you think they made in the garage? Where did these terms come from?
That's a good question, Joe. A lot of these terms are just bullshit. But do you know, for years, Jack White and Meg White, what do you think their relationship is to each other in this scene?
I get the impression that they're just friends. I know they have ostensibly the same name, and I think there was some question whether they were sister and brother or husband and wife.
They have been husband and wife for a long-ass time.
Okay.
They had a thing where they put themselves forward as brother and sister. Like, they played brother and... Like, their characters in the White Stripes were brother and sister. But they were married. They were never actually brother and sister, but a lot of people thought they were.
Yeah, I knew that much about them. I couldn't tell you. Do you know a White Stripes song? Because I couldn't think of it.
Seven Nation Army.
How does that go?
I'm gonna fight 'em off. A Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back.
All right, so Jack White's the only one here who acts. I mean, it was acted in something else, or at least something I've seen, and he was in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Sure.
Ms. Meg didn't act in anything that I've seen. Okay, let's discuss what's in their section of the film, which is the 8th scene, and it's called Jack Shows Meg His Tesla Coil, which sounds like a euphemism for something else, but it's not.
It 100% does sound exactly like that, yes. And that may have been a choice. That may have been on purpose.
Perhaps so. So.
Mission accomplished, title writer.
Why is Tesla important? And not just here, but for some reason among bro culture today. Nikola Tesla thought chastity made you smarter, at least for men. He also thought pigeons were hot and would talk to them in the park. What is the extraction to this dude?
Pigeons aren't hot?
No. They may be delicious, but they're not hot.
I mean, I watched Animaniacs, and there were definitely some, cute pigeons making eyes at other pigeons. I mean, how can you resist the... I don't know, Joe. I don't know why Tesla is that important. I think he's that combination of mad scientist and underdog because Edison so thoroughly trounced him in the patent wars.
It isn't like that Tesla is, that Elon Musk is compared to Tesla, when in fact, if Elon Musk is anybody, he's Edison.
No, Elon Musk is neither.
Well, I mean, in terms of because Edison had no problem stealing people's patents and ideas,
no, but
and claiming them as his own.
He also did have his own ideas. Tesla Musk doesn't.
Well, he has the idea of going to the moon. That's an idea.
How old is Elon Musk? We went to the moon in 1969, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We went to the moon before this asshole was born. That can't be his idea.
Anyway, let's get off that monster and get back to the movie. All right, so and they had a big conversation about Tesla. I didn't get it.
What year were you born?
1967.
You're older than Elon Musk.
I am. I'm older than a lot of people, to my surprise, because I think I look much better than they do.
You do.
So, anyway, so they talk a lot about Tesla, which again, I don't get. If you people want to write in and tell me why Tesla is important, please let us know, because I don't get it. I don't give a fuck about this man. And by the way, chastity definitely doesn't make you smarter, because it didn't hurt Einstein. That man was fucking everything. And he did just fine, thank you very much, in the brains department. Anyway, moving on. How do you compare the personalities? How do the personalities contrast here, as opposed to the others we've seen so far?
I don't know. They played kind of like a married couple that had pretended they were brother and sister for a long time. That's how But this was the only scene that made me laugh out loud.
Okay, what made you laugh?
When he turned on that Tesla coil, the look on his face was fucking priceless.
Because it doesn't work. Ugh. Why would he bring that to a cafe? By the way, every cafe here is empty. There's no other customers in any of these places. Every single one is just the 2 characters or 3, and that's it. But anyway, why would he bring that with him? On his wagon, he just rolls it with him to meet up with...
Because the scene title is he shows her his Tesla coil. So if he doesn't have one, he has to pull his dick out, and they weren't about to do that.
Do you think this is a metaphor for art, science, or relationship?
No, I don't think this rises to metaphor. This is just a scene.
Well, what do you
involving
think
a Tesla coil that doesn't work. By the way, I think the waiter was right. That was probably whatever he said was wrong.
Oh, right, because he said, told him how to properly put it together. Mm-hmm. I don't have him in there because he had no credits that I could find. Anyway, the next scene, number 9, is called Cousins, but this time with a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
And in that one, we got Alfred Molina, playing Alfred, of course. And George and I have both seen him in Raiders of the Lost Ark and Maverick, the 1994 version. And I've seen
the other version.
There is the earlier Maverick from 1960 or whatever.
Okay.
So, and I think there was one after this, but doesn't matter.
So this is the Mel Gibson Western.
Yes, Maverick is a Mel Gibson one. With the original Maverick from the TV show, James Garner. Anyway, and I've also seen Mr. Molina in Spider-Man No Way Home, Promising Young Women, Vice, Spider-Man 2, Boogie Nights, and Dead Man.
And I heard him in The 10 Commandments from 2007. He was the voice of Ramses.
I didn't remember they did a new 10 Commandments. Was that on TV or something?
It was the animated one.
Okay, that I do remember. All right. And Steve is played by Steve Coogan, who I've seen in Stan and Ollie, Our Idiot Brother, The Trip, The Other Guys, In the Loop, Tropic Thunder, Hamlet 2, and Hot Fuzz.
And I've seen him in The Indian in the Cupboard and Night at the Museum.
One of the most amusing things I've seen, and Steve Coogan's a very funny man, but one amusing thing in the trip that he does with this other performer whose name I don't remember at the moment, they have a Michael Caine off as who can do a better Michael Caine impression, and it's really funny. It's like 2 impressions of Michael Caine over the years, young Michael Caine to older Michael Caine, which is very amusing. Because for some reason, Stephen Coogan, both in The Trip and in this movie, really likes playing an asshole, playing himself as an asshole. Mm. And it doesn't matter if he's the star or the supporting character. He loves playing a jerk face. But here, I don't know if he's out of line. Alfred Molina, a man he's never met before, invites him to a meeting where he springs on him that they are related and thus they should work together. And what's more, Stephen Coogan should love him. That's a lot to take in a first meeting. What do you think, George?
This one was over the top karma. Like
Karma? Why karma?
Yeah, so the whole thing is he does exactly what Joe just read. But then Alfred takes a phone call from Spike Lee.
No.
Or Spike Jones.
There we go.
And, sorry, I'm getting my spikes mixed up.
Well, they say it in the film. You're talking to Spike Lee? No, he says, no, Spike Jones.
But he gets, and then Steve's like, oh, wait, can he introduce us? And Alfred's like, oh, no, you wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to burden you. Like, but there was no reason for Steve to say yes to Alfred in this. So making him suffer for it at the end as some kind of moral lesson is garbage.
Yeah, I agree. Because, you were coming on really too strong. This is imagine if this was a first date.
And, it took forever to get to that. It took forever to get to we are cousins. And, he drew it out. And I think, the drawing it out was supposed to be funny.
Yes, I agree.
But it was boring. And which is a sin. That's when you're aiming for comedy, but you end up boring. That is a sin. You should go to hell for that.
But I think Steve Coogan's performance, again, he's supposed to be the jerk here. Yeah, I guess the idea is the karma is you have a role. I wouldn't mind that. But what is he supposed to say to this man? Again, he's only met this one time, saying all the shit to him. We're related. First of all, maybe you could have said, okay, well, let me look into this. Just give me a little time because you're going too fast. Again, just imagine if this was a first date, and rather than the stuff that he does say, he says some other stuff like, we really get along together, and we're in love, and we should love each other. And whoa. This is a first date. We just met. Let's not put the L word in there already.
Mm-hmm.
It was way, way, way over the top. I think it was reaching for some sort of humor that it did not achieve for me at all. Other than, no, actually nothing. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, did I think there was a funny scene in here? This is the scene, this is the one where I was most engaged in. Because I think we both agree this is kind of a boring movie. And this is the only scene I'm like, okay, I'm actually paying more attention now. I'm into what's going on here. Although I think the director thinks one person is the bad guy who isn't, as far as I'm concerned. But beyond that, whatever. Anyway, let's move on to our next scene. We're down to the last two, and vignette number 10, we have Giza, Riza, and Bill Murray meeting in a diner, and it's called Delirium. Not the diner, the scene. Giza and Riza are both members of the hip-hop group Wu-Tang Clan. As of this recording, the group is still together. Bill Murray is Bill Murray. I presume everyone still knows who that is. As of this recording, he is also still together. Although, if some of the stories about him are true, maybe he should have been ripped apart years ago. But that's another story. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Riza, I have no credits for him.
Nope.
So I had nothing for him.
Again.
So Giza, I have no credits for him, so nothing there. But Riza has been in a few things. In fact, for the podcast, we've seen him in American Gangster. And George and I have both seen him in Kill Bill Volume 1. And I've seen him in Problemista, A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas, and Funny People. Anyway, Bill Murray, as we all know, we've seen him in the podcast in Little Shop of Horrors and Stripes. And both George and I have seen him in Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, and Groundhog Day. And I've seen him in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, The French Dispatch, Lost in Translation, The Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, Kingpin, Tootsie, Caddyshack, and Meatballs.
And I've heard him in Isle of Dogs and seen him in Scrooged and Zombieland.
So, the first question is, what's the deal with Bill Murray drinking coffee straight from the pot?
That's what Bill Murray does in a scene. That's it. Because number one, Rizza and Giza don't drink coffee because it's I don't know, at least with microchips or some shit. So he's got the coffee, he's the waiter, and he's just like, well, shit, nobody else is going to drink it. So he starts drinking the coffee out of the pot. It would have been weird if Bill Murray wasn't drinking the coffee out of the pot. I feel like the scene wouldn't have, worked if he wasn't doing that.
Oh, so you think this scene worked?
Maybe. It would have been further away from working if he wasn't drinking coffee out of the pot.
It's also nice to explain why he's working there, and they both Giza and Rizzo recognize him and go like, "Hey, you're Bill Murray." And he says, "Shh, don't let anybody know." And the guys actually say, "How could you're not hiding? You're not wearing a disguise. Everyone's gonna know it's Bill Murray. We're not letting the cat out of the bag here." Now, why do Rizzo and Giza respect alternative medicine? Because they're really into it, and you talk about Tom Waits thinking he's a doctor. Freaking, was it Rizzo or is it Giza thinks he's also some sort of medical professional?
For the same reason that alternative medicine isn't a thriving billion-dollar industry. Because people are stupid. That's why. Because we're not taught how to think critically, and profit motives make everything worse. Like, you have stores that you go to get your actual no shit medication and things that, I don't know, you use to treat wounds, and it's just an aisle over from a bunch of shit that's made up bullshit garbage make-believe. Sold for even more money.
Which is all true, which begs the question, why do people who are against medicine or love alternative medicine always go with, oh, well, the profit motive for medicine?
Because they're fucking stupid. That's why. Because people are stupid. And, it's not that people are stupid. We're not as smart as we think we are, and we're susceptible to all kinds of messaging. That's why. Because the fantasy of people want to identify with the underdog. It's this concept again. People want to feel like they are going with the secret thing, or the
people love the idea they have some secret knowledge that everyone else doesn't have. Well, you know the old joke, right? What do they call alternative medicine that works?
Medicine.
Exactly. Yeah, and there would be no such thing as alternative medicine. If it works, it would just be medicine. It makes no sense. And
I have an answer for why it exists, too. What do they call the person that graduated bottom of the class at medical school?
A doctor.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, there's other very bad doctors out there, but they still have their medical license because they did pass. They passed the boards. They passed medical school. They're just not necessarily very good because they're still at the bottom of the class. It's true. Yeah. That's why you can find all these quack doctors running around who say, well, I am a doctor. And I'm like, yeah, but you're really bad. Anyway, there's another scene I didn't quite understand where we were going with it. I didn't know what the subtext or story was. We got the very famous, everybody knows each other. Everyone compliments each other. Although I don't believe for 1 minute Bill Murray knew who the fuck these people were. But he insists that he does, and he loves their music, and they love him. I have no doubt they know who he is. And they chit-chat back their credits with each other. And then they tell Bill Murray about some sort of old medicine thing. He goes off to gargle something, and then they run off because they think, oh, maybe what we said wasn't right. The end. I just didn't understand. I really didn't get it. Didn't understand it.
I was kind of checked out by this point in the movie. I'm not going to lie.
Well, speaking of checked out, we finally made it to the 11th and last segment, and it's called Champagne. Two old guys sit in an armory on a 10-minute coffee break. Despite the name, nobody drinks champagne. The characters, Bill is played by William Rice. He has no credits that I know of. And Taylor is played by Taylor Mead, who we've seen in Midnight Cowboy for the podcast. Okay. Are these two men the oldest people in this movie?
They certainly look like the oldest people.
They look so freaking old. That's incredible.
But I'm like, Estelle Getty in Golden Girls taught us everything. It's that sometimes people don't look their age.
No. And everybody in Golden Girls is playing, not quite as old as they're supposed to be. Tesla comes up again. Why?
Because they needed themes, so they...
this is before Tesla became hip among the bros.
Joe, I have to really tell... I was kind of checked out by this point in the movie. I barely...
You got to help me here. This is a two-person podcast. You got right. I'm sorry.
How long was this movie?
An hour and 30 minutes.
We are at an hour and 20 on the record.
We're going to cut some stuff out. What do the characters seem to be reflecting on life, death, and dreams?
You answered your own question.
How did I answer my own question?
What do the characters seem to be reflecting on? That's a question. Life, death, and dreams are the answer to that question.
Do they really? Well, okay.
I don't know, Joe. I was kind of checked out by this point in the movie.
You're not helping me.
Like, I remember them falling asleep and being like, are they dead?
Well, we'll get to
But that's like the last question that you have.
Yes. This is my next to last. This is the penultimate question. How does a setting, an empty armory, affect your interpretation? Because that's the one scene that is not in a cafe, not in a coffee house, nothing. They were in an armory, and they make a point of saying they're in an armory.
I clocked, like, break room at some industrial place. I wasn't specifically aware that it was an armory.
They say it a couple of times. Yeah, I don't know what that...
All I knew is, these are the only two that were at work.
Yes. Although they should have been retired a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last question here is he dead at the end?
I don't know, but I think it's a stronger statement if he is.
Or is it Bill? I don't know which one it is.
Whatever they're trying to say, it's stronger if he dies.
He seems to go to sleep, and then the friend tries to wake him up, but doesn't try too hard.
Right.
So we don't know if he's...
So there's plausible deniability.
The end. So it's not... So it goes against just about everything else in the movie that came before. They're older than everyone else. It's not set in the cafe, and someone may die at the end. I mean, I don't know why it's there, other than they both do smoke and have coffee. Although I guess maybe one doesn't have the cigarette. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? George, does it still work?
We'd have to answer the question, what was this supposed to be, for me to answer that question? Is this supposed to be a comedy? Is this supposed to be funny? Like, through it? Is comedy supposed to be, like, the underlying thing in this? Because if so, no, it doesn't fucking work. It's not funny enough to warrant that. If it's a weird esoteric meditation on coffee and cigarettes, I don't think it actually works for that either, because they don't talk about that as much as they talk about other shit. Like, a couple of them dial in on the coffee and cigarettes, not enough of it to justify a title and having that in all the thing. So I don't think this works, because I don't know what the fuck it was trying to do, and a piece of art that doesn't know what it's doing doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter what the filmmaker was trying to do. I know what he achieved, and that ain't much. Right. I was as bored as you were, and I'm someone who actually, I remember liking this movie in 2003. So in the subsequent years, either my taste has gotten better or worse, I don't know, but I did not find this interesting whatsoever. I don't know and I don't smoke. I never smoked. I never was that in love with coffee. So what appealed to me about this is, I don't know. Maybe because it was in black and white, and I thought, because I didn't understand it, I thought, well, it must be philosophical and deep because I'm not getting everything, which is when you're younger. You do think that, right? I understand it, so therefore it must be good.
Right.
It must be profound, because I'm just not getting it.
I mean, there was a point where Kit walked by and said something, and I'm like, this is 2003. And she's like, that's 2003? I'm like, yeah. She's like, wow.
When did she think it was?
I don't know, but because it was black and white, it seemed older.
I think, well...
But it was like black and white, but also has the white stripes in it. How the fuck does that work?
That may be why they were cast, just for that. I'm sure in the black and white, I gotta find the white stripes. Who knows? Either way, it doesn't work.
Oh my God.
I think Jim Jarmusch
That's not... I mean, they mentioned having the black and white tiles.
Yes.
So maybe... I mean, you could have white stripes on other colors, though.
Of course. It's aiming for something, that's for sure. But its philosophical bent is just not interesting enough. The acting's just not that great, other than Cate Blanchett puts in a pretty good performance there. She's playing characters, and everyone else is just playing versions of themselves. And with all due respect, folks, you're not that interesting. That's why you're actors or musicians, or you're behind something else.
I mean, that's not necessarily... Being an actors can be interesting people too, Joe.
Of course they can. But in this case, they're not. So that's why they play characters. All right. Anyway, we both agree. Doesn't work. Sorry, Jim. Maybe your next film, if George allows me to show any more of your pictures. All right, man. What's up next?
Next week, we will be talking about Angel Heart from 1987. And that's on the list because Joe has seen a bunch of people who are in that movie, so it has come up a lot in the cast list, and I'm like, I gotta see what this fucking movie's about.
And I remember liking this picture. Let's see if that's changed like it did with coffee and cigarettes. You know, it's so funny. I've been complaining like we've been liking too much stuff. Well, that's over. That put it into that streak.
Yep. What the fuck did?
Let's see if it continues with Angel Heart, because I do remember liking that picture quite a bit. Anyway, so I guess that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Dixon. Thanks for listening.
I'm George Romaka. Thanks for listening indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Romaka. This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org. The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others, because that still works.
The average pack...
255.36%.
I don't think the .36 mattered in that sentence, Joe.
Okay, sorry. All right.
Dear Mr. Wahlberg, perhaps you can offer some advice to a smoker who just can't quit. Dear Abby, I think my husband, Vinny, is having an affair. Dear Abby, almost 2 years ago, I placed my beautiful baby boy for adoption.